Okay, everyone, as promised, even though it's a little bit later than planned, here is the answers from Friday's review worksheet on inverses. So, number one, guys, I just want to point out that if they give you k negative 1, what does that mean? I'm going to plug negative 1 into my function, and that's how I got negative 7. So we call that evaluating the function. If you jump down to number 3 here, guys, instead of just evaluating, they may actually ask you to, for example, in this case, do f minus g, which means just combine the functions. And so notice how I took f and literally minus g from it. And don't forget to do the distributive property, right? So notice I had negative 2 and a negative 1 there, and together that's how I ended up with the final result there. Remember, you can always pause the video and as I go through these problems. Number 2, again, it says p of negative 2, so I plugged in the negative 2. If you do it correctly, you get negative 4. On number 4, notice right there it says f dot g, which is f times g. So I had to do the distributive property. Hopefully you guys still can do your distributive property correctly. Pause the video if you need to. Number 5, this one again is another distributive property, g times h. So I literally took g times h. Number 6, this one was a minus. Guys, know that there will be some times and minus on this upcoming quiz, by the way, next week, or this coming week. Notice how I distributed the minus correctly again. Number 7, find the inverse. You're going to have to find the inverse. How do we do that again? G of n is really a y. I switch it to x. The n is really a x. I switch it to y. In other words, I switch my x and y's, and I solve for my new y. And I ended up, of course, finally getting g inverse of n minus 2 to the 5 power. To get rid of a radical 5, I had to do a 5 power on both sides. Correct? So pause the video if you need to. Number 8, again, I had to switch my x and y's there. And I'm solving for that y there. So I first minus 2 both sides. And then to get rid of the 3 power, I had to do this cube root on both sides, right? And so hopefully you can follow through on that. Please remember that any of these problems you still have questions on, guys, just bring it up in class. That's all I ask. I can't read minds. And finally, number 9, I literally took one function and I plugged it inside the other as shown. And if you do your math correctly, we end up with an x. And remember, guys, whenever you end up with just the variable you start with in the function, you know, yes, they are inverses of each other. Just one reminder that on the real quiz there will be some no's. They won't all be yeses. Okay, guys, I'll see you in class.